buried in the wreckage of lost ships. It is a realm of precious artifacts and priceless treasures, a world of ancient mysteries long beyond our grasp. Until today. Now the sunken marvels of the ocean deep are up for grabs. From ancient Roman ships to Spanish galleons to luxury liners like Titanic.
I dream about gold and emeralds every night. And you gotta believe it's there, and you gotta want it bad.
Some people are out to plunder the past, while others, archaeologists and scientists, like the man who first found the Titanic, are out to preserve it. They are all armed with million-dollar high-tech tools and the will to spend years on the arduous search.
Just running out of a boat with a metal detector and hoping to jump over the side and pull up a beach basket of gold coins, that's stuff of fantasy in Hollywood. That really doesn't happen very often.
It is a world where controversy reigns, where there are confusing laws and no rules. Does anyone have a right to excavate shipwrecks? Should the past be protected, or should it be picked clean for profit?
It's a very big difference between doing something to fill in a missing chapter in human history and doing it for personal greed.
Explorers and archaeologists, entrepreneurs and salvagers. Some will risk everything. Reputation, fortune, even their lives to possess the treasures of the deep. The Mediterranean Sea. On its shores grew great civilizations of Egypt, Greece, and Rome. And from its banks, ancient people sailed beyond the safety of land, in small wooden ships. For hundreds of years, Roman ships controlled these waters, creating a vast empire. But the moods of the sea are harsh and unpredictable, and a Roman vessel 100 feet long had no defenses against storm and wave and wind. Over the centuries, countless ships were lost and countless sailors killed. Now, the man who discovered the Titanic, Dr. Robert Ballard, is again hunting for shipwrecks. Ancient shipwrecks in the Mediterranean.
For hundreds of years, scientists have looked in the ocean for our history. And for most of that time, they've only been able to look very short distance of 100 or 200 feet, which represents an insignificant amount of the ocean. And what we're trying to accomplish is something that's never been done before, and that is to try to excavate a ship of antiquity that is thousands of feet beneath the sea.
To bring out ancient vessels buried a half-mile down. It's never been done before, and Ballard only has 5 short weeks to do it.
You know, it's ironic that we have sent robots to Mars, we've mapped the far side of Venus. In fact, we know more about the moon's surface than the ocean.
To make the impossible happen, Ballard will need a floating laboratory as mission central. The Caroline Celeste, a U.S. Navy vessel, will journey 80 miles west of Sicily into international waters, where no one has a claim on lost vessels. Ballard believes the Mediterranean is strewn with ancient wrecks, and he has long dreamed of finding one.
We're sitting right now in ruins that are on the island of Sicily. To get to Rome, you have to cross the Tyrrhenian Sea. To get to Carthage, you have to cross the Straits of Sicily. To travel from civilization to civilization here in the Mediterranean, you must cross the Mediterranean. And many of those ships didn't make it. Many of those ships went to the bottom, and many of them went into the deep sea. Between ancient Carthage and Rome, it's 12,000 feet deep, and no one has ever gone to the bottom of the Tyrrhenian Sea to look for those ships that sank, most surely sank there until now.
It was a decade ago when Ballard and a team of archaeologists first surveyed an unexplored Mediterranean region called Skirky Bank. In 1988, he made a startling discovery near 3,000 feet down. The remains of an ancient Roman ship lying untouched for almost 20 centuries. The find confirmed for the first time ever that an ancient trade route had flourished across the open sea, from Carthage, North Africa, to Rome. Now Ballard has returned to Skirky Bank, where he'll attempt to excavate the ancient Roman ship. Working in close collaboration with archaeologists, Ballard hopes to uncover something nobody has ever seen before.
My greatest dream is that these ships are buried and well preserved, and that their cargo is preserved, and who knows, maybe there's people that are preserved. I'm not sure I want to find people, but it would be fascinating. And we won't know until we dig them out.
Could there really be the remains of ancient seafarers at the bottom of the Mediterranean? It is an extraordinary idea. And to find out, Ballard used an extraordinary machine. The NR-1, the big gun of deep-diving submarines. It is capable of going all the way down to 3,000 feet and staying there for a month. Built during the clashes of the Cold War, the NR-1 was a crucial weapon in the U.S. Navy's arsenal for 30 years. Designed to search the ocean depths for downed planes and lost missiles, it's the best in the world. Outfitted with lights, sensors, cameras, and a mechanical arm for digging. All of it powered by a nuclear reactor which won't need to be refueled for 20 years. Even now, its sonar equipment is still classified. So sophisticated, NR-1 can find a soda can sitting on the seafloor a mile away. The NR-1 is a marvel, but it's a cramped one. The 11-man crew shares one bolted-down kitchen table just big enough for 2 people at a time. For this mission, Ballard has added something brand new to the sub's digging arm. A powerful suction pump that will dredge the ocean bottom. Ballard believes the seafloor is sandy and soft, ready to reveal whatever secrets lie hidden underneath. What is actually down there? Will Ballard find the timbers of an ancient Roman trading ship and the bones of the men who sailed it 2,000 years ago? Sunken treasure. It has drawn people to the seas since the first cargo ship split apart on the first shallow reefs. Relics, gold, gems, pieces of eight. It is the stuff the countless dreams and schemes are made of. Obsessed with the promise of riches, undersea treasure hunters today scour the world's oceans, crowding serious archaeologists. The king of the undersea dreamers and schemers is a stubborn rebel named Mel Fisher. In his quest for treasure, Fisher let nothing stand in his way, and came to be known as a swashbuckler, a very successful swashbuckler. In 1997, family and friends joined with Fisher to mark the spot where he struck gold nearly 25 years earlier.
The reason we picked today is rather appropriate. It's Mel Fisher's 75th birthday. But the plaque, and let me unveil it here, take it off. You'll notice we got a picture of the Achocha, and it reads, "In sincere appreciation to Mel and Dio Fisher for their extraordinary efforts in accomplishing mankind's most elusive goal. They followed their dream."
In the 1960s, Mel Fisher is a man with a mad dream. Often short of money and deep in debt, he hunts the shallow waters of the Florida coast for treasure. He is determined to find the shipwreck called the Achocha, a Spanish galleon that had sunk in 1622 in a hurricane, reportedly carrying a king's ransom and silver and gold. Year after year, with the help of his wife and children, Fisher combs the Florida seas. Until 1975, when his son Dirk finds the first real evidence of the ship, 9 bronze cannons. Just a week later, while returning to the site of his triumph, Dirk Fisher's boat capsizes in the dark of night. Dirk, his wife, and another diver die tragically. Fisher is devastated, but he vows to continue and to honor his son's memory. The Achocha seems so close, but she continues to elude Fisher, to tease him for over a decade. Then, in 1985, in 60 feet of water, he finds her, the Achocha, the mother lode of all treasure ships. It's worth $400 million so far. And today, Mel Fisher is counting the riches still out there on the ocean floor.
So right over here, about a quarter mile, there's all the king's taxes for 5 years. All the church collection money from all the Catholic churches in this hemisphere for 5 years. All the wealthy merchants, 28 of them on board, all their life savings for 10 or 15 years in business over here. They were going to go home and retire. They didn't make it. So there's probably another $4.5 billion right over there.
Today, aging and ailing, Mel Fisher is still bringing up treasure. These days, it's emeralds. His passion for treasure has been passed on to his youngest son, Kane Fisher.
These emeralds are coming from the Achocha, and they weren't on the manifest. We found a court-martial record in the archives saying that the admiral had a.
I got one!
There it is.
Go get one!
Saying that the admiral had a K-go.
All right,
Hey! There you go. Yeah, that's about a half a carat. And that's about 6,000 a carat there. That's about a half a carat, so that's $3 grand you just found.
You gotta be real persistent and not give up no matter what. And you gotta believe it's there, and you gotta want it bad. If you want it bad enough, you'll get it. You just gotta keep looking, and don't stop no matter what. I dream about gold and emeralds every night. And you'll never know it's 5 feet away from where you left off. That's what keeps it exciting.
The Atocha puzzle still isn't solved. It's just, I don't know when we're going to figure it out. And you just keep going and going. It seems like you never get done working a shipwreck. We've been working those wrecks for 34 years now. And still finding stuff. And it's exciting. That's what keeps you going.
Today, Mel Fisher is big business and almost respectable. A swashbuckler makes enemies, big enemies. Charging that Fisher has seriously damaged the sea floor with salvaging techniques, the federal government has dragged him through the courts, and Fisher's had to pay hundreds of thousands in fines. But Fisher knows how to change with the times. Conservator Sid Jones, who worked extensively with Fisher on the Atocha, acknowledges the need to protect history.
In the past, treasure hunting, back in the 60s or the 50s when it was really getting started, there wasn't much thought given to recording data or preserving artifacts. Of course, there was a large emphasis on finding something of value. But we've all learned in time that every artifact that comes from these ships has value. Once you understand the complete picture, the items not only have a monetary value, but they have a historical value as well, which didn't always exist in the early phases of treasure hunting.
After finding and carefully cataloging his treasures, Fish sells most of it off, piece by piece. Fisher believes that $2 billion more is just waiting to be recovered. Deep in the Mediterranean, the NR-1 is still hunting for archaeological marvels, with no luck. After 3 weeks of trying, the sub and its robot arm have been unable to make a dent in the ocean floor, which unexpectedly turns out to be sticky and thick, like clay. Ballard's master plan is just not working. Do wooden hulls of the Roman vessels still exist just beyond reach? Or has time stolen them away? Ballard wonders if he'll ever find them.
The deep sea is always surprising. Every time I think I understand it, it throws me another curveball. But that's okay, that's part of it. I think it wouldn't be fun if I knew it that well, and it wasn't full of surprises.
Ballard decides to change the way they use the NR-1. He sends the sub out to do what it does best, to act as a high-tech bloodhound, to roam over Skirky Bank and to explore as much as possible with its exceptional sonar senses.
Sir, just mentioned rig ship for deep submergence.
Rig ship leaves submergence.
Rig ship for deep submergence, aye, sir. Rig ship for deep submergence.
Will the NR-1 discover the unknown, the unexpected? Ballard will just have to wait and see. By working to develop new underwater technology, Ballard has revolutionized deep-sea archaeology. At the same time, he has inadvertently helped to blow the world of treasure hunters wide open. Now, anyone with $150,000 to spare can buy an ROV, a remotely operated search vehicle, right off the shelf and set off for gold. Still, there are only a handful of successful deep-sea salvagers. Seahawk Deep Ocean Technology out of Tampa, Florida is one of them. Seahawk hit the jackpot in 1989, discovering a 17th century Spanish galleon heavy with gold and jewels off the Florida coast in 1,500 feet of water. Seahawk is looking for treasure again, this time in the seas off the coast of Georgia. Michael Reardon, Seahawk's current expedition leader, sees himself as a treasure hunter with a difference.
That's one of our goals, to choose shipwrecks that are archaeologically important as well as having a commercial cargo. So we're playing a fine line between the archaeological community and the out-and-out smashing grab treasure hunters, of which we're not.
Reardon is after a 19th century paddle wheel steamer, which they've codenamed the Golden Eagle, to keep her identity hidden from other salvagers. Now they've narrowed the search to a mere 200 square miles.
It's very difficult locating shipwrecks with all the sophisticated equipment we have today. It's still quite a chore. Keep in mind, right now we're 433 feet above the sea floor, trying to put a small vehicle on a shipwreck. There's no road signs out here.
It has taken Reardon and his colleagues years of hard work to reach this point. Now, using some of the same high-tech tools as Ballard, they are hoping to claim their fortune 500 feet down.
Roger that. I copy. The vehicle is on the bottom.
According to Seahawk, the Golden Eagle in 1865 found herself caught in a hurricane with nowhere to hide.
They fought the storm for 2 days, all hands and passengers bailing and bucketing water out. And finally the seas and the weather calmed down and it went under.
She went to the bottom, carrying a bellyful of gold coin, $400,000 at the time, now valued at $20 million.
6 years' work coming down to a dive with a remote vehicle, and hopefully when we get in on the site, it'll be the right wreck. We have very good sonar images of the wreck, and the dimensions are almost exactly the same as the target vessel, the Golden Eagle. Got some targets off to the right.
As the ROV descends into the glittering murk of the deep sea, project manager Brett Hobson discerns the ghostly outlines of the past.
That's the beautiful part of these old little time capsules. Nobody's seen it, and we're just sleuthing through, looking for clues. And you definitely feel like a detective.
So far, everything we're seeing is telling us this could be the one. You look straight down now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to go all the way over to the other side. Okay.
It's been very quiet here ever since, very dark. And our light, the first one, is to illuminate it since it went down. That's a very eerie feeling.
As the ROV makes a closer pass, they see things that don't match.
Wow. Really round. And we've got some very flat-sided bulwarks here. Huh. See the big cutout going down to the keel and the rudder stanchion on the right. I don't know what's it going to be. It looks just like what I hoped we would not find. No paddle wheels, I know. That's a propeller like that. I think we're in trouble.
Very disappointing at this moment to be sitting here, a target that he had pinned high hopes on, and now to prove that it's not the right vessel. Can't think of the right words to describe how I'm feeling right now. It's not good.
It takes time and luck to find a pot of gold in a vast, deep ocean. And Reardon has run out of both. Reardon abandons the ship to sea. There's no profit to be made from the wreck. And unlike Ballard, treasure, not history, is what drives him. In the Mediterranean, the search for history does not let up. With only a few weeks left, Ballard and the NR-1 continue to hunt Skirky for new wrecks. Ballard also deploys Jason, a remotely operated search vehicle designed and built by engineers from Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute.
Okay, we're detecting the data logging station now.
Archaeologists have already spent many hours carefully surveying and mapping artifacts on the sea floor. Now it's time for Jason to retrieve them. Guided by the team, the robot vehicle plunges 3,000 feet to locate fragile relics. Most are Roman amphoras. They're 2,000-year-old terracotta containers, the cargo holders of the ancient world, filled with olive oil, dried fish, or wine. Safely cradling its fragile hull, an elevator of metal and mesh slowly traverses the half-mile separating the centuries. For the first time in 2,000 years, human hands will hold the ancient artifacts. Next stop for these delicate pieces of the past is the ship's laboratory, where they'll be examined by archaeologist John Olson, Expedition Archaeological Director Anna Marguerite McCann, and Conservator Dennis Piatta. Olson is delighted to find the simple clay pots.
To find several king pots together, adjacent to one another, just as they would have been left on a kitchen bench, is extraordinary at this depth, 2,600 feet.
Treasure hunters would find little of value here. Yet to archaeologist John Adams, a shipwreck is a slice of time unexpectedly preserved.
When a ship sinks, it's a cross-section of society. Structure, contents, personal possessions, contextual relations, etc. Lost at a single moment in time. Nobody decides what to take away, what to leave behind when the ship sinks. It all ends up on the seabed at the same time. And ships have been described, rightly so in a way, as time capsules.
As they continue to explore, Ballard and the archaeologists are excited to see things they've never seen before. Skirky is turning into more than they ever expected.
Zoom in on that. Can you tell me? Oh, that's beautiful.
They've identified the remains of a ship, but it's definitely not of Roman origin. Nobody knows at first where it's from.
It's particularly interesting because it seems to be a relatively small ship, and we don't see cargo, just ballast stones, which help steady a ship when it's not carrying cargo, or if it's a pleasure craft, such as a small personal yacht, or possibly a type of warship.
Look at the reflection on those glasses. Keep driving straight. Don't stop. Is there glass? I'm just amazed that there's glass.
Glass, lamps that brightened the darkness centuries before. And despite thousands of pounds of sea pressure, they survived unbroken.
Obviously, one of our big concerns is that these artifacts are very, very fragile. Jason weighs 3,000 pounds in air, and it's got a tremendous amount of momentum. And pick them up without breaking any of them. We've never picked up glass before.
Once the objects reach the surface, they help reveal the nature of the mysterious vessel. It comes from the 16th or 17th century, 1,500 years later than the Roman ships, when Arab traders sailed these waters.
Look at this. Got that some hold open. Look at that. Hey, look. Man. Look. Get it from the picture. Wow. That is amazing.
They are not gold or studded with emeralds, yet for Ballard, a delicate glass object is the real treasure. They are evidence that Skirky Bank may have been a crossroads for many countries and civilizations.
What has surprised me the most is that we thought this was one event, that this was a fleet of ships, a group of ships that sank together, and it's not all. We have ships spanning over 1,500 years of history, if not more. I am just amazed. I thought that there would be a ship here, and then way far away another ship, and in this particular area, 20 square miles, 4 miles by 5 miles, we have found now 6 ships. This area is sort of like a graveyard.
Ballard is no stranger to undersea graveyards. He's the man who discovered one of the most famous burial grounds in history. The Titanic. The largest, most luxurious ocean liner ever built. Called a floating palace, the Titanic sails April 10th, 1912, on her maiden voyage. She is believed to be unsinkable until her tragic rendezvous in the North Atlantic. Sideswiping an iceberg, the great ship sinks in less than 3 hours. 1,523 people, 2/3 of all those aboard, die in the icy waters. For decades, explorers are obsessed with finding the final resting place of the great liner. But no one is more intent on the hunt than Robert Ballard, who spends 13 years looking. Finally, in 1985, Ballard and French explorer Jean-Louis Michel discovered the remains of the ruined giant over 12,000 feet down. Ballard always treated the Grand Wreck as a site to be explored, but he did it with respect. To him, it was a shrine for the dead to remain untouched, intact. Ballard and crew even held memorial service for those who died in the tragedy.
When I found the Titanic, certainly I became emotionally attached to it. And Jean-Louis Michel, who was co-discoverer of the Titanic with it, was equally moved. And I can remember both of us saying, we'll never let this ship be spoiled or desecrated.
Ballard discovered the Titanic, but he never claimed ownership of her under the laws of the sea. Inadvertently, he was opening a Pandora's box. Once the location of the Titanic became public knowledge, it was a target for salvagers. Ballard's worst fears come true. A new expedition, led by Connecticut businessman George Tulloch, probes the rotting remains of the Titanic. Tulloch spends tens of millions of dollars to send down robot vehicles and bring up jewelry, eyeglasses, furnishings, anything within reach from the devastated liner. Once Tulloch retrieved the objects, he legally claimed the Titanic for his own. Ballard never thought this day would come.
I don't think in my wildest imagination did I think that they would go out and salvage it. I mean, I was convinced they wouldn't. And it just caught me by surprise. I was really shocked. And there was nothing I could do about it. Because since I didn't claim it, I mean, it didn't even cross my mind to claim it.
85 years ago this month, the luxury ship the Titanic sank on its maiden voyage across the North Atlantic. Tomorrow, Mid-Southerners and people from all across the world will be able to see treasures that disaster left behind.
Like Ballard, George Tulloch expresses deep reverence for the Titanic's dead. But he argues that people will better understand the tragedy if they can see the artifacts firsthand.
I think Titanic is by itself capable of saying is incomparable in terms of tragic suffering for that moment in time. And I think that the objects from that moment deserve to stay with us.
Tulloch says his company will never sell the artifacts, never sell off the possessions of the dead. But his company will profit handsomely from the traveling exhibition.
I think the blessing we have is that the court says that it's ours, the company that I'm president of, and we don't feel that it's ours, we feel that we're the guardian of it.
Tulloch's historian Charles Haas does not want to deny ordinary people an opportunity to experience the past.
One only has to look at the museums of the world to see that part of the archaeological process is recovering artifacts from the ocean floor. There are ample demonstrations of Mediterranean vessels of all kinds of shapes having their contents brought up and placed in museums for people to enjoy. I think it's certainly preferable to have the Titanic's artifacts guaranteed to be placed before the public and teach them, and to allow them to sit on the ocean floor where they'll be ravaged by time and the elements down there, and accessible really by only a very few people.
But to archaeologist John Adams, there is no scientific reason for Tulloch's excavation of the Titanic.
We know a lot about Titanic. We know the names of people on board. We know its itinerary. And so the question the potential archaeological researcher would ask is, if you actually go and investigate that wreck archaeologically, in other words, pull up pieces of the material remains, what is it going to tell you that you don't know already? Now, this is further muddied by the fact that there are still people alive whose relatives died on the ship.
Is there any difference between exhibiting a teacup from the Titanic and bringing up an ancient drinking glass from the Mediterranean floor? Tulloch doesn't think so.
One of the people that we criticize is in the Mediterranean, sucking up the clay containers from a Roman shipping vessels. There's something about Titanic that makes people a bit crazy if they feel that it deserves.
For Ballard, there's an enormous difference between an archaeological expedition and salvage for profit.
Every object that's recovered is recovered because an archaeologist, an expert, says, I want that. You know, sometimes they would say, see that broken jar? Pick it up. Well, how about the unbroken one? No, actually the broken jar has more scientific value. Bring it up. So we bring it up. And so it's a very big difference between doing something to fill in a missing chapter in human history and doing it for personal greed.
Nearly a decade after discovering the Titanic, Ballard dove on another grand wreck, the British luxury liner Lusitania. High-tech treasure hunters had stripped as much of the broken vessel possible, looking to sell off the remains. Salvagers even brought us 3 of the boat's propellers. One propeller made it to a maritime museum. The second was believed to be melted down and recast as a very expensive set of golf clubs. The last one met an even gloomier fate.
I can remember going out trying to find the propeller of the Lusitania and finding it in this junkyard. It's just sitting there amongst all this other junk. And I can remember when we were diving on Lusitania to have that empty shaft, something was missing. Its propeller was missing. And if the propeller was in a museum, if it was serving some purpose, I could understand that. But to find it in a junkyard, waiting to be sold for scrap, you have to wonder, why did you do this? What was going through your brain? And it had to have been just a lark. And that's really sad.
Ballard's Mediterranean expedition is down to a precious handful of days, and now the NR-1 finally pays off. The sub uncovers 2 new sites, including the oldest they've found, containing a Roman wreck from the 1st century BC. The evidence is now inescapable. Skirky Bank has been a major intersection throughout Mediterranean history. Ballard is anxious to find more, but the seas suddenly turn dark and angry.
Well, we just found the best ancient ship we've ever discovered, and we can't get to it. We got to get in the water. We can't get in the water. They're telling us we've got a storm that's coming that's going to be Sea State 5. This is our 2nd major storm on this trip. We lost 32 hours to the last storm. How many hours are we going to lose to this one? You know, I want to get down. I can't get to it.
But there is one way to get beneath the waves. Ballard decides to send down the NR-1 during the storm. Once under the surface, the sun will be free of the weather, free to continue exploring. On board is archaeologist John Adams, eager to see the new find close up. Unlike most deep diving subs, the NR-1 actually has 3 windows on its underside. For Adams, they are portals to the tragedies of the past.
When you're diving, you can't get half a mile down like we are now. And it's easy to lose sight of the people. And I suppose the last moments for them on board this vessel before it sank must have been the climax of a crisis that might eventually be going on for several hours as the well-organized machine that the ship is gradually breaks down, and down it goes. So it's quite an awe-inspiring sight.
In this graveyard of lost vessels, the NR-1 explores the very last site. The new ship is another Roman trade vessel dating from the 1st century AD, and a cargo rarely seen by scientists. An oily pile of large cut stones and 2 pillars, carefully rocked pieces like giant toy blocks, still waiting after 2,000 years for hands to assemble them. Perhaps they were prefabricated pieces of an ancient building carved out of an Egyptian quarry destined for Roman shores. It will take months, even years, before the archaeologists know the answers, if ever they do. As always, Ballard is concerned about protecting the sites for posterity.
When we discovered the Titanic, we did not file a claim of ownership. And I was later told that had we done that, had we recovered one little object, we could have claimed it, and in so doing, helped protect it.
By bringing up the Skirky artifacts, Ballard establishes his right to claim the sites in court, if ever it becomes necessary.
This is very heavy, Kathy. Very heavy.
For now, Ballard will place the artifacts recovered at Skirky Bank in the Sea Research Foundation, where they will be preserved according to the highest archaeological standards.
Last one. Last one. The one you were sort of curious
Together,
about the shape.
Ballard and the scientists have proven that the new world of deep-sea archaeology can work wonders.
I feel very good. I feel that this, really is a historic expedition. This is the first major deep-sea archaeological expedition. An incredible team of people from incredibly diverse backgrounds working together for the first time to try to do something that had never been done before. I think we have shown that the deep sea is a repository of human history on a scale we've just never comprehended before.
But are the archaeological glories of the deep sea at risk from salvagers and treasure hunters? Yes, Ballard believes, until they learn to respect the past.
I have no fundamental problem with treasure hunters if they don't destroy history in the process. And I don't think it's our right to destroy history. It's our right to find it and document it, but not our right to destroy it.
As long as there are marvels in the seas, people will pursue them. Some will be treasure hunters, dreaming of gold and gems. And some will be scientists, dreaming of the astonishing discovery that next awaits them. Buried in the wreckage of lost ships. It is a realm of precious artifacts and priceless treasures, a world of ancient mysteries long beyond our grasp. Until today. Now the sunken marvels of the ocean deep are up for grabs. From ancient Roman ships to Spanish galleons to luxury liners like the Titanic.
I dream about gold and emeralds every night. And you gotta believe it's there, and you gotta want it bad.
Some people are out to plunder the past, while others, archaeologists and scientists, like the man who first found the Titanic, are out to preserve it. They are all armed with million-dollar high-tech tools and the will to spend years on the arduous search.
Just running out on a boat with a metal detector and hoping to jump over the side and pull up a beach basket of gold coins, that's stuff of fantasy in Hollywood that really doesn't happen very often.
It is a world where controversy reigns, where there are confusing laws and no rules. Does anyone have a right to excavate shipwrecks? Should the past be protected, or should it be picked clean for profit?
It's a very big difference between doing something to fill in a missing chapter in human history and doing it for personal greed.
Explorers and archaeologists, entrepreneurs and salvagers, some will risk everything. Reputation, fortune, even their lives, to possess the treasures of the deep. The Mediterranean Sea. On its shores grew the great civilizations of Egypt, Greece, and Rome. And from its banks, ancient people sailed beyond the safety of land in small wooden ships. For hundreds of years, Roman ships controlled these waters, creating a vast empire. But the moods of the sea are harsh and unpredictable, and a Roman vessel 100 feet long had no defenses against storm and wave and wind. Over the centuries, countless ships were lost and countless sailors killed. Now, the man who discovered the Titanic, Dr. Robert Ballard, is again hunting for shipwrecks, ancient shipwrecks in the Mediterranean.
For hundreds of years, scientists have looked in the ocean for our history. And for most of that time, they've only been able to look a very short distance, of 100 or 200 feet, which represents an insignificant amount of the ocean. And what we're trying to accomplish is something that's never been done before, and that's to try to excavate a ship of antiquity that is thousands of feet beneath the sea.
To bring up ancient vessels buried a half-mile down. It's never been done before, and Ballard only has 5 short weeks to do it.
You know, it's ironic that we have sent robots to Mars. We've mapped the far side of Venus. In fact, that we know more about the moon's surface than the ocean.
To make the impossible happen, Ballard will need a floating laboratory as mission central. The Caroline West, a U.S. Navy vessel, will journey 80 miles west of Sicily into international waters where no one has a claim on lost vessels. Ballard believes the Mediterranean is strewn with ancient wrecks, and he has long dreamed of finding one.
We're sitting right now in ruins that are on the island of Sicily. To get to Rome, you have to cross the Tyrrhenian Sea. To get to Carthage, you have to cross the Straits of Sicily. To travel from civilization to civilization here in the Mediterranean, you must cross the Mediterranean. And many of those ships didn't make it. Many of those ships went to the bottom, and many of them went into the deep sea. Between ancient Carthage and Rome, it's 12,000 feet deep. And no one has ever gone to the bottom of the Tyrrhenian Sea to look for those ships that sank, most surely sank there until now.
It was a decade ago when Ballard and a team of archaeologists first surveyed an unexplored Mediterranean region called Skirky Bank. In 1988, he made a startling discovery nearly 3,000 feet down. The remains of an ancient Roman ship lying untouched for almost 20 centuries. The find confirmed for the first time ever that an ancient trade route had flourished across the open sea, from Carthage in North Africa to Rome. Now Ballard has returned to Skirky Bank, and he'll attempt to excavate the ancient Roman ship. Working in close collaboration with archaeologists, Ballard hopes to uncover something nobody has ever seen before.
My greatest dream is that these ships are buried and well preserved, and that their cargo is preserved, and who knows, maybe there's people that are preserved. I'm not sure I want to find people, but it would be fascinating. And we won't know until we dig them out.
Could there really be the remains of ancient seafarers at the bottom of the Mediterranean? It is an extraordinary idea. And to find out, Ballard used an extraordinary machine. The NR-1, the big gun of deep-diving submarines. It is capable of going all the way down to 3,000 feet and staying there for a month. Built during the clashes of the Cold War, the NR-1 was a crucial weapon in the U.S. Navy's arsenal for 30 years. Designed to search the ocean depths for downed planes and lost missiles, it's the best in the world. Outfitted with lights, sensors, cameras, and a mechanical arm for digging. All of it powered by a nuclear reactor which won't need to be refueled for 20 years. Even now, its sonar equipment is still classified. So sophisticated, NR-1 can find a soda can sitting on the seafloor a mile away. The NR-1 is a marvel, but it's a cramped one. The 11-man crew shares one bolted-down kitchen table, just big enough for 2 people at a time. For this mission, Ballard has added something brand new to the sub's digging arm. A powerful suction pump that will dredge the ocean bottom. Ballard believes the seafloor is sandy and soft, ready to reveal whatever secrets lie hidden underneath. What is actually down there? Will Ballard find the timbers of an ancient Roman trading ship and the bones of the men who sailed it 2,000 years ago? Sunken treasure has drawn people into the seas since the first cargo ship split apart on the first shallow reefs. Relics, gold, gems, pieces of eight. It is the stuff that countless dreams and schemes are made of. Obsessed